Hello, and welcome back to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim, and it is harvest time again. I am going to harvest a few vegetables today, and I'm bringing you along with me. It's still early in June, but the vegetables are coming in. One of the first things that I harvested today was some of this Napa cabbage, and I harvested and forgot to video. So I harvested 2 of my 8 heads of Napa cabbage, and here are some beautiful pictures of just how big those heads were. Now, the other good thing about this is that I've already cooked them up and we had them for dinner and they were delicious. The next item that I'm remembering actually to record will be the green beans. So let's head right over there. In this tower, I have purple TP, gold rush, purple TP, and gold rush. And some of these plants were transplanted in versus starting them from seed, and they are ready to harvest. And so we are going to just go ahead and start harvesting them. One thing with your beans, the more you harvest, the more they will put on. So some of these are kind of small, so I'm harvesting them today, but then I will turn around and harvest them again this weekend, just before I go out of town for work, because I don't want them to get too big. I'm going to be gone for a week, so I will have to depend on my family to do harvesting while I'm gone. So I'm going to try to harvest as many as possible before I leave for work next week. But I am going to share with you just how beautiful these beans are. So I will do a picture at the end showing all of the beans and everything else that I harvest today. And I like to pick my beans when they're young and tender. Boy, these purple beans are coming in fast. We may actually have these for dinner tomorrow because we had Napa cabbage today, and I thought it was going to be enough for 2 days, but I was so wrong. My family slammed that cabbage. It was actually very good. I actually picked broccoli a few days ago, and my girls had broccoli as well. So all of the vegetables we had today were from the garden, except for corn. I did have some frozen corn. I don't grow corn. That's the one thing I don't grow. I will try pretty much everything else. You like the way you can just sit here, pick the beans. You don't have to run all over the place. You just get your nice comfy chair and you just turn your GreenStalk to the vegetables versus you going to the vegetables. If you don't know by now, I love my GreenStalks. If you asked me what was my favorite addition to the garden over the last few years, number one would be the GreenStalk, because it has allowed me to get so much more food in such a small space. The second thing I would have to say is the cattle panel trellising. I just think it adds such organization to the main part of the garden and an easy way to trellis. So those are probably my favorite 2 things I've added to the garden over the last few years. Now I'm going to show you just how beautiful these beans are. Here, let me come in close just so you can see them. Just grab a couple handfuls. Look at those. Aren't they beautiful? Now these purple beans, when you cook them, they turn green, but the yellow holds its color, and it's a more firm type bean. It's a wax bean, but these are gorgeous. But let me keep picking, because there are quite a few other things that I want to pick today. Now some of these beans just came up. They just broke ground maybe a week or so ago, so they're not ready, but there are plenty of blooms on there and teeny little bitty beans. So we will have beans for several weeks to come. Now all of these were from seeds up here, so they're not quite ready yet. All right. I will be picking again later this weekend. Now I'm picking dragon tongue beans. So they're still I think you can eat it as a like fresh bean as well as a dried bean, but I've never had it before, but dragon tongue I hear has impeccable flavor. So let me show you what a dragon tongue looks like. So they have these stripes, kind of red stripes on them. I hear they're impeccable. The taste is amazing, and we will see as we pick them and eat them. Pick them young and pick them often. That's what we say about beans. All of the dragon tongue, I believe, was started from transplants. I don't think I started any of these from seed. Not in this patch. I will definitely need to come back and pick these again at the end of the week, because there's some I could pick now, but they will be really, really a nice size at the end of the week. Let's see what else we can harvest. The next harvest is the strawberries. Let's see how many we're going to get today. There are a ton of blooms and small strawberries on these, so they are going to be delicious. I will show you all of them at the end. All right, let's go to the next strawberry area. Can you see these? Look at that. No strawberries over here. Yeah. I could have swore I had more strawberries in these, but I have been in the house working. Probably should check with my sister. There should have been a couple of dozen out here. Ooh, that's a big one. Not ready yet though. This makes no sense. There should be a couple dozen of strawberries out here. I wonder if my sister picked them. We will find out. If she did, I will show you the strawberries if she didn't eat them all up. Let's move on to something else. Now, it's not quite time yet to harvest the garlic, but it is time to harvest garlic scapes. So I think garlic scapes are only on hardneck garlic, and I may be saying this backwards. It's either hardneck or the softneck. There are two types of garlic. Hardneck garlic stays, nice and strong through the stem. Softneck garlic will give once you start hardening it off and drying it off and curing it. But if I'm not mistaken, the hardneck garlic is the ones that give you garlic scapes. And a lot of people use the scape, so it's this curly Q right here. I hope you can see it. I don't have it on all of my garlic because I have both soft and hardneck garlic in here. But from my understanding, and the way I did it last year, was once that little curly Q makes a complete circle, it's time to harvest it. And I just cut it back, just like that. And it has a garlicky taste, but it also has a little bit of an onion taste to it, to me anyway. Cut these up. You can make garlic scape and make pesto out of it. Oh, smells good. It smells like garlic. It smells so good, but it's a soft, subtle hint of garlic. It's not super strong. And so last year I took these, I cut them up and I cooked with them. I put them in a stir fry and they were delicious. So I'm going to pick them again now that I have my curly Qs. This is also a sign that your garlic's getting close to time to harvest. I've seen people make pesto out of these, and they will use it to make like a pesto chicken, where they take these and add them to a blender, put them on chicken, and they taste amazing is what I hear. I have never made pesto out of it yet. I didn't get enough last year to do it, but I plan to do that this year with this year's harvest. And we're probably a month out from harvesting our garlic now. It's getting really close. And I tell you, I think I'll have all of it. And then I'll come back out to the garden and I'll realize I missed a couple of the scapes. That one's not quite curled, but I'm going to take it anyway, just so I don't have to come back and get it. Okay, did I get them all? I had one from the bed behind me. I think we're good. Soft neck in the back, hard neck in the front here. So as I was headed over to this GreenStalk here to pick some more kale and mustard greens, I remembered I planted 2 in the main raised bed garden. And so I just picked a handful of that while I was on my way over. So there's some kale. And we are going to pick, we're not going to pick the dinosaur kale today. We're only going to pick curly kale and mustard greens. And the mustard greens did not like the heat at all. They tried to bolt on me, so I definitely want to get them picked. But mustard greens technically was not on my list of things to pick today, but we will be picking them. I want to harvest as much as I can. I don't want to go out of town again and risk losing a harvest because of it bolting or whatever. See, look at that. See this right here? This is the plant trying to bolt on me. So we'll break that off. And later this weekend, I'll pick the dinosaur kale, this here, and preserve it, freeze it just by itself without the curly kales and the mustard. Just to mix up the taste of some of the stuff that I'm putting in the freezer. See that right there? That was trying to go to seed on me. When I say go to seed, I mean bolt, flower, end of life type stuff for your plants. Some of these still look really nice though. Look at that. That's some mustard green. Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe a couple more harvests off of this mustard and maybe pull it up and plant another batch. Since that hot weather came in so fast, everything wanted to bolt on me, and I want to make sure I get a good mustard harvest. So I may keep them maybe one more week, and then I may go ahead, pull these up and replant the mustard and move this tower down just a little bit to give it just a little more shade. I think that's going to be my plan. I would prefer to do that than fight with a poor harvest. It's still early enough in the season for me that I can get a nice harvest if I go ahead, give up on these and plant more. Like, we're back down to normal temperatures. The weather here barely got up to 80. If it got up to 80, and then tomorrow it's going to be in the mid to low 70s. Go figure. Then last week, every day above 90. Your plants are confused. I picked those pretty clean, didn't I? Not so much on the curly kale. These are a little smaller. My basket's getting a little full. But I still need to go back and pick some more celery. There's so much out there. I need to pick it and keep the dehydrator running so that I can preserve as much as possible. So let's head back to the celery. We are back to the celery, and this is a different patch of celery. Plus I have celery over at my neighbor's that I'm going to eventually have to do something with. But I just figured a little bit at a time. Yeah, I think that's enough off of this area here. Let's move to another area of celery. We will just take a little more. It's still beautiful though. I think that's my biggest piece of celery. There's my celery. Now I have some overwintered carrots in my neighbor's garden. Let's see how they turned out. Let's go over there next. Now, these carrots may turn out to be nothing. They did overwinter, and I mean, looking at the stalks, they're getting ready to go to seed, which I've never had a carrot go to seed, but these are getting ready to go to seed right here. So let's pull them up to see if we got anything out of it. Yuck. That one stayed in the ground too long. It's all split. It's slimy. It's disgusting. Smells like a carrot, but it's all cracked open and slimy, and it looks like it's been in the ground about 6 months too long. Let's see if we get anything here. Now this one looks good. I've never overwintered, so we're doing the best we can. There we go. That's a nice sized carrot. It's a decent size. Yuck. Yuck. Slimy. Okay. Well, we got all of our carrots out that were overwintered. And only a handful of slimy ones. Okay, I think that's enough harvesting for today. By the weekend, I'll be harvesting some collard greens and some of my herbs, but I think that's enough for today since I'm gonna harvest again on the weekend. So let's put the display out so you can see all the great things that I harvested today. All right, we're finished harvesting for the day. Have everything laid out that I harvest, including the strawberries. I knew there were strawberries out there. My sister had already helped herself and had them harvested, had them in a bowl, had them in the refrigerator, getting nice and chilled for her, us to eat. But let me show you all of the goodies up close. So we have our mustard greens here, a teeny little bit of curly kale, a whole bunch of celery. Now this is the second harvest of celery, and there's probably 25 more harvests out there. Some overwintered carrots that don't look the best, but they will eat just the same. I'll get them washed up. At the top here, we have our garlic scapes. We have our beans, and we have 3 kinds of beans here. We have purple teepee, a few dragon tongue, and just a few of the gold rush, but there'll be a lot more this weekend, and then the strawberries. That's it for the harvest today. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. All those things I always say, and more videos are coming. Thanks again, and until next time, bye.